So you need to know what you enjoy, you need to know your goals, and you need to have that messaging buttoned up so you can convey it to your staff. All right, my friends, the Ultimate OD Podcast, we are making our businesses better. Today, we are focusing on you and your staff. What do you need to do to increase your revenue? A little focus goes a long way. We have the closing thought of the episode. This is the Ultimate OD Podcast. Here we go. All right, my friends, the Ultimate OD Podcast. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for the likes. Thank you for the follows. Thank you for the listens. I love optometry. I love the business of optometry. I have often thought that if I could go back and talk to your younger self, would there be any changes you would make? Very few changes that it would make that would lead me down a path other than where I'm at now. I honestly would have started more offices sooner. For some reason, lately, and deep down in my heart, I wish I would have went to Bascom Palmer for residency. Not because I want to do a residency, not because I think it would have changed anything. I just, at this point in my career, think it would be stinking awesome. Just best of the best, elite minds, and in the thick of it. I miss that I don't get to be around that, or I never was around the best of the best, right? After optometry school, I kind of went and did my own thing, and I've learned along the way. But getting the chance to rub shoulders with people that are on the cutting edge, that are publishing, they're doing stuff. Now, again, I don't want that life. I love what I do. I love running my business. But it would have been cool to see that for a year. When you're, 28, and you're like, oh, another year of my life of school, it seems like a lot. But now, 13 years later, it just would have been a good story. And in my mind, it would have ended up where I'm at now. Now, we all know things happen for a reason. A lot of things happen for a reason. Timing is everything. And if I would have delayed a year, I might not be where I'm at now. So I don't think I'd change it. But I do wish I would have been at some kind of elite institution and saw a little more advanced disease. As I look at some of the corny stuff that I want to learn and do now, it's harder to get exposure to that, especially as a private practice working by myself. That being said, I'll figure it out and we'll go from there. But let's get on to business. We are talking about business. If you listened to episode 202, we did a recap on some ways to increase our revenue, increase our bottom line. And that's what we're talking about in the next few episodes is how do we run a better business? How do we increase our net? You can cut expenses or you can increase your revenue. The number of patients that you see, the frequency in which you see them, their purchase amount. Your revenue per patient. Those are the levers that you need to pull. All right. Now, the problem was we have an abundance of opportunities to pull those levers. So many options, so few resources. Okay. 3 groups of people that we need to focus on to increase our sales. You, Y-O-U, me, ourselves. We need to focus, look ourselves in the mirror, know what we need. Our staff, and then our patients. Okay, let's start with us. We have more bandwidth than probably anyone else around. Today, I'm in the office and I'm in the middle of patients. We have red eyes walking in, need to be seen. I'm managing that, quick triaging in the moment, seeing my regular comprehensive day-to-day patients, and the stinking toilet breaks. This toilet has been the bane of my existence for the past month. I'm moving to a new office. I'm getting new toilets, new everything. So I don't want to do a lot of money towards this toilet. So I keep buying the stinking chain that keeps breaking. I have paper clips there holding it together. Awful. Stinking. I got my hand in the back of the toilet every other week. Just ridiculous. But hat that I wear. I'm a dad. I'm a husband. Son-in-law, son, friend, going to golf outings, trying to have fun, enjoy my life. These are the hats that I wear. We have tons of bandwidth. We're business owners. But at the end of the day, you run out of rope. You run out of energy. You have to focus. Okay? So you have to know yourself. And in this business of optometry, the keys to being successful are answering these questions. Number one, what do you enjoy? Not what makes money, not what is the latest trend. What do you think and enjoy? Seriously, do you know? If you could only see one type of patient every day, all day, what would it be? You need to know that. You have the ability to operate your business and make it what you want. Too often, you get someone that starts a business, starts a practice, and they want to be everything to everyone. And they're like, I'm going to be doing this for the next 50 years. And, 5 years later, they've created their own prison. They've created their own nightmare because they're doing everything they hate, but they've made money to it now. They're making money and they don't know how to change and do what they enjoy. You hear offices where the doctor wants to sell his practice and then start another practice and just do what he enjoys. Mind-boggling. Why don't you just, instead of selling your current practice, make it what you want? And do that. I always say, if you're authentic, you're an N of one. No one can compete with authentic you. If you're trying to be like Doctor down the road, and Doctor down the road loves it, and you're just trying to be like them, they're better than you. Don't compete with them. Don't compete with Costco. Don't compete with America's Best. Be yourself. Okay? When you go to an optometry conference, when you go to lectures, what do you gravitate towards? What do you enjoy? It's a weird thing. Like, I like going to a lot of the ocular health and wellness, ocular nutrition stuff because I like that for myself, but I don't necessarily like that for business. When I try talking to my patients about that, it's a different conversation at a different level. I want to understand the nitty gritty. Like, if I'm taking vitamin C, am I going to have this happen? If I take a certain probiotic, am I going to fight sickness and infection? When I talk to my patients, are you doing these things? But let's focus on your eyes. Yes, they're related, and there's things I want you to do that could help, but it's not my focus, it's not my expertise, it's an enjoyment. But I found a way to incorporate that into what I do, and it's a win for everyone, right? But what do you enjoy? When the patient walks in the door, are you happy that they're coming in, or are you not? What patients do you enjoy seeing? Again, answer these questions and make more of that happen. Okay? Now, once you've figured out what you enjoy, what do you want from your practice? Do you want to be a referral center? Do you want to do only medical? Do you want to work so you can be at home with your kids? Do you want to work a lot more so you don't have to be at home with your kids? Like, everyone's different. Everyone has a different goal. What is yours? The mistake that we all make is that when we don't sit down and answer these questions, when we don't have our vision for the future, we tend to chase trends. There's an abundance of doctors that are influencers. Honestly, they are. They love what they do. They're good at what they do, but they're working for the companies. They're advocating for Tirvaya. They're advocating for Xdemvy. They're advocating for dry eye, IPL. You name it, and they're pushing these things. It's not bad. It helps the profession grow. We want to be cutting edge. We want to be advanced, but you pick your area of expertise, and there's a doctor that lives, breathes, eats, sleeps it, and you think you should too. They have the ability to make you feel that way. You're doing your patient a disservice if you're not doing this. My goodness, I am not doing that. I am doing them a disservice. Right? You need a vision. Know what you stand for. I forget the name of the doctor. I apologize. But she started her own practice. She had an office, went into industry, starting her own office, and she's like, I'm not going to see glaucoma patients. I'm going to refer them down the road. I want to have a high-end optical. I love the optical aspect. I'm going to see primary care, and I'm going to do this. And that's what she's doing. Love it. Make your practice what you want it to be. You need to have a vision. Now, vision, ironically, is what you need to be a good leader. See, vision helps us lead an eye care office. Vision, laugh. Okay. What is our why, boss? Why are we doing this? Dr. Lily? Can you answer, can you convey that message? It's one thing to answer for yourself. It's another thing to be able to take the messaging and explain it to your staff. I was reading a blog, I'm not sure where, but a doctor was talking about the trouble that she was having. She was an associate at an office and things were good, but she had an issue with a receptionist asking the doctor how to answer a patient question. The doctor gave the message, and then the doctor asked later in the day, hey, did you relay the message? And the staff member said, no, I don't believe with that treatment plan. What? Excuse me? Again, I don't know what it's like to have that happen because I've always been the owner. Someone says that to me, you better have a really good reason, because if I hear that, deuces. Thank you for working here. I appreciate the effort you've put in. Get out and don't come back. You don't do that, right? So for that doctor to have that happen, why is that happening? There's some kind of breakdown in the communication that the staff doesn't believe in what's going on here. Well, is that staff member rogue, or is this doctor the only doctor in the office that does X, Y, or Z? Again, you don't have to do everything the same. I think you should have aligned messaging, and there's a lot of different ways that we can approach optometry, but they need to respect what you do and believe in it, because again, we believe what we sell. They believe what they are selling as well. If they're not selling it, they don't believe in it. So where did the breakdown happen? Right? These things sound absurd to me because that's not how I run my office. But do you ever have where you're recommending something and the staff doesn't truly do it, or they constantly are not doing what you ask? They don't have your vision, or you're not giving them a clear and concise message. All right? So you need to know what you enjoy. You need to know your goals. And you need to have that messaging buttoned up so you can convey it to your staff. So that's a great transition for let's talk about staff. You figured out yourself. How do we figure out staff? Staff is a prickly little peach right here, okay? They are your biggest sales force, but they can be your worst enemy to change. They want to have consistency and stability, right? They want to feel secure. They don't like it when things get changed. They like doing things the way they've always done it. They also know you have an unlimited number of options because they've heard you tell them all the things you want to do. Again, lesson number 1, shut your mouth. You can have 1 or 2 people you bounce ideas off of, but I used to tell everyone, hey, I'm thinking about this and that. And you know what they would get? Worried. Well, if they do this is what you have to realize. If you're going to bring something to your entire office, you need to have thought it through 10 times over and not have any loose ends. Because they are going to capture the loose end, pull it apart, and your whole plan goes to crap. All right? So, know what you stand for and what you're going to do. They will never care about the business as much as you do. But they do want to do their job well. Tell them how to do this. These are the things we do. This is what I expect of you. Like your patients, when they need to do their home therapy or their glaucoma meds or you name it, you have to break it down for them and you have to keep telling them. They're not going to get it the first time. Not going to get it the second time, third, fourth, fifth. You got to keep doing it. Eventually, it will stick. Again, you can't have different messaging all over the place. For perspective's sake, think about this. Have you ever went to a holiday party and you're listening to your family talk and they're talking about, oh, I get this much PTO. I want this time off. I'm going to take a 3-week vacation. And you're just like, that doesn't work in my world. I can't do that. We don't have a staff to support that. Right, we think that and hear that. Your staff goes to the same get-together and like, yeah, why can't I do that? Why are we doing this? I want that kind of life. That's what your staff cares about, right? They are barely above patients in terms of how much they care about the business. They care about it because it's a means to an end for them, but they have to have a bigger purpose, right? You have to give them ownership in your vision. Now, the key is to get them to want to do what you want them to do. Jedi mind trick them. You got to do this. We all win. This is what happens. So again, what is your vision? Clearly think about it, and then find a way to incorporate your staff into the vision. We are going to be the best, most advanced office in optical, ocular health and wellness, and dry eye. What do you need to know? You need to know the home therapies. You need to know the advanced therapies. When there's something new, I will give you all the education, but we review it and talk about it every single day. They talk about it with patients on the daily. I let them know these things will come up. Don't worry about that. That's not something that we do. These are areas that we don't dabble in. I do myopia management in the office. I let them know the basics, but I don't quiz them on it. I don't ask them too much about it because they have so much bandwidth. They know it's something we do because I believe it's standard of care, but we have other things that matter. Right? When we started doing photos on every single patient, we had some of the techs that were a little worried about it. I had to get them on board with this is better for the patient. If they get pushback, don't worry, I have your back, and go from there. And I realized as this was happening that my whole plan to make this happen was relying on someone that didn't necessarily believe in it. Now, thankfully, it went off without a hitch. Patients don't question it. It happens. But those things are happening all over your office. You have a plan. You have it all thought out. But the one person that needs to buy in doesn't believe in it because you haven't thought it through from their perspective. They're the ones that are going to get pushback from the patient, that are going to have the awkward conversation, and they don't have agency and authority, and they have to convince this patient? No. They're going to take the path of least resistance, and that's why you're not getting the results that you want. Give them power, give them authority, give them a purpose. Okay? This is involving planning on your part and then constantly bringing them in and showing them what you want them to see so they believe. All right? Passion is contagious. That's why you need to know what you believe in and what you stand for and what you want to do. And then start just being excited and sharing what you're learning. I will put on, whenever I have a webinar or a podcast I listen to or something planned, I put it on the schedule. And when I go through the morning rundown, I'm like, hey, 8:30, we're doing a webinar on, Demodex. Join me if you want. They all laugh at me, but I'm doing that for a purpose. I love learning about this. They need to know this is how much I care about it. If you ask my staff, does he like talking about dry eye? They're like, oh, geez, you and him could talk forever. They believe what I'm selling because I believe in it that much. You have to be enthusiastic, energetic, because if you're not, they won't be. And then anytime you get a win, share that with them. Show them how they impacted that person's life. Not you, they. They did this to help this happen. Great job. Share the victories. Whatever you're doing, whether it's IPL, glasses, myopia management, find a way to have them do it. They have a child that has myopia. Let's do this for your kid. I let all my staff members do IPL. When we get new frame lines, new glasses, they get a shot at those. Get them excited, right? This is how they have more bandwidth for things because it benefits them. That can be contacts, frames, you name it. They are your biggest cheerleaders when it's benefiting them and they see a difference. Make them believe. All right, so this weekend, some things to do. Number one, sit down, write 3 areas of optometry that you love. What do you enjoy? Figure out how you're going to focus on these 3 things. Now figure out what your goal is, end game with the office with those things. Think it through, look it over. Now, how are you going to educate your staff on this? This is good for 2 reasons. One, start with your staff because that is how you're going to translate to educating your patients. Your staff can understand a little bit more than the patient, but not that much. And if they don't understand, your patient's not going to understand. So figure out how to educate them. How can you get them involved in the process? Give them ownership. Now, this is the hard thing. Commit for 6 to 12 months. 2 quarters, you can't do anything new. These are the 3 things that you are doing. There may be things that you add to, like, say, dry eye. Like, hey, we're going to do a lot of, like, Avenova and Sustain Complete. You may find out Hyalonite is a great ointment. We're bringing that in. That's new, but it's within your area. It's making X, Y, or Z better, right? That's fine. Don't get off the beaten path. Make sure that it's complementary and works for your 3 things that you're going to grow and love, okay? When that new and shiny trend comes around, or you're at a conference and you have to act now to get this deal, does it align with your 3 things? If it doesn't, don't do it. Period. All right? Just say no. All right? Next week, we're going to talk about how you get the patients on board. But this is the core and key to producing more revenue. You, then your staff. We'll have more for you next week. Where has the time gone? We are to the closing thought of the episode, and today I will leave you with this. You've heard the analogy that if your only tool is a hammer, everything starts looking like a nail. What is your hammer? What do you constantly go back to, and this is your default, this is what you're going to do? Oh, I know Nick. When things get tough, he's going to exercise. He's going to do this. That exercise is the answer to everything. When it comes to dry eye, he's always about IPL. IPL is his hammer, right? Hammers are great, but they blind you to the entire forest. Don't get lost in the trees. Recognizing what your hammer is great for you to be a better doctor and grow, a better person and grow. So figure out what your hammer is, know that you go to, and see if you're ignoring something else that could be beneficial because the hammer is easy, available, and you've done it a million times. That's what I have for you. Dr. Lily out.